welcome to lecture 21, encapsulation and abstraction. So, this is a new chapter. So, we will see what do you mean by encapsulation first. So, we know when you are writing the class contains several member data and member functions, right, in C++ or you call it as a data member and methods in Java. So, when you are using, right, these member data and member functions, how to protect them, right, from the external interference and misuse, right. Suppose I assume that I have declared a data member, right, or data members, all right. So, let us consider I want to use only inside that particular class, right. So, we know access specifiers, but is it possible, right, externally use, let us say, member data and member functions from outside, right. So, even though the protection is there, right, and how I can carefully handle, right, from the external. So, at that point of time, so when I am using those, so there should not be any misuse or any interference from outside, all right. So, it is like a capsule, right. So, the capsule, the medicine is tightly packed. So, in a similar way, so when I start the class, let us say begin to end, all right. So, you are closely packing your member data and member functions, right. So, this is important principle in object oriented programming, and since we are protecting them from the external interference and misuse, we also call this as a data hiding, right. So, that means data will be handled only inside the class, and outside use we are going to carefully use this. So, this involves, right, encapsulation involves you are keeping all the data together with the functions, that means the member data and member functions are together. And when I am talking about data abstraction, right, so in terms of functions and member data, so we are going to explore, right, by having set function, get function, etc., right. So, from the outside, so I can try to call the function, right, let us say publicly accessible functions, and from that functions you can access the data member and member functions, right. So, even though they are in private, all right. So, we have the concept of data hiding, data abstraction. In fact, we are talking about data abstraction slightly later. As I already said, it is like abstract, right. So, when you are writing a research paper, abstract, so you are not giving any details. So, for example, I want to write certain functions, right, I want to implement certain functions. So, I am just giving the name, and then I will define outside. So, that is called the data abstraction or simply abstraction or abstraction class. So, how we can use in C++, how this particular property, right, encapsulation property is being used. So, this can be done, all right. So, C++ supports the properties of encapsulation and data hiding, all right. So, we create the user defined function, right, we create the user defined function, and this function assume that there are some objects in the particular class and that particular object will invoke these functions. So, these functions, let us say they are defined inside the classes and then they can access the private member data, all right. So, the concept of encapsulation and data hiding, right. So, we are going to, let us say, the set function, all right. So, the set function, so I can call outside the class, in fact, from the main the particular object will invoke, all right. The set function will access, and then the get function will access the member data. So, in fact, we already talked about, if you recall, private, protected and public, all right. So, private, protected and public, and the default means if I am not mentioning anything means that is considered as private. So, now we will see an example, all right. So, what do you mean by encapsulation? So, let us consider you have a class adder, right. So, class adder, you have the constructor, right. So, you have the constructor adder int I is equal to 0, right, total equal to I. So, add number, right. So, another function you have add number, right. So, that is also public. So, one is a constructor. So, this one is a constructor and you have a member function add number. So, in number, so total equal to total plus number, this function is adding total with number, you are passing number and then this will be added with the total, right. Next function is int get total, all right. Next function is, next member function is int get total. So, that will return total. So, now you have a private member data. So, the concept of encapsulation starts from here. So, you have the private member data called total, correct. So, how the total can be accessed, right, indirectly, not directly, you cannot access from outside, but how we are going to access this from the outside. So, that is the concept of encapsulation. So, let us assume that I have one object called A, alright. I have one object called A whose class is adder, alright, and A is invoking add number, right. A is invoking add number, right. So, you are passing 10, right. So, total, so when you are creating this object, the total is initialized to 0, right, because this will be calling this particular constructor and I will be 0 and total is equal to I, right. I hope it is clear. Total will be I now, right. I is what? 0. So, total is 0. So, now when you are calling by passing 10, so what is happening? Add number function will be called, add number member function will be called, right. You are passing 10, right, passing 10. So, number is 10 now, total equal to total plus number. So, 0 plus 10. So, after invoking the function will have, right, total 10, right, total is 10. So, now you carefully look, you are this particular object A is invoking add number member function, right, and I can able to access this total, right. So, indirectly we can access the total, right. So, once you are accessing, in fact, when you are calling, when you are creating this object, yes, the total is initialized to 0, right. You can able to access from outside, but what we are doing safely we are accessing, right. So, that is the important point of data hiding and encapsulation. So, we are hiding this total data outside the world, right. We are hiding this data outside world, but how we are accessing? So, you have understood. So, when I am creating an object, the total is 0 when you are creating, right, and then what is happening when this object is invoking add number, when you are passing 10, total will be added with 10, right. So, total plus number, because you are passing 10 here. So, what is total now? 10, total is 10 now. So, now the object A is invoking another add number, another, right, the same function next time add number. Now, you are passing 20, right. So, total is already 10, right. So, this is your total. Now, you are adding with 20. So, 10 plus 20, now total will be 30, total is what? 30. So, again A is invoking one more time add number 30, right. So, already 30. So, 30 plus 30 it will be 60. So, total is 60 now, right, and then you are printing total, right, by calling A is calling the function get total, A is calling the member function get total. So, get total is here, again I can access total, right. So, 60 will be printed, right, I have to get the output 60, correct. So, when I run the code you can see total is 60, correct. So, this is how I can explain the concept encapsulation, or even you call it as a data hiding. So, which data we are hiding? We are hiding the private member data called total, alright. So, in fact, I mean if I write something over here total, correct, A, it is a private member data, suppose I write A dot total outside, we know that it will give an error, right. So, if suppose I put C out A dot total, alright, you can try. So, what you can do, instead of calling this particular function, try A dot total, right. So, you will get the, right. So, there will be an error, right, because you cannot access outside the class, and moreover the access modifier or access specifier you can see it is a private. So, this concept is called data hiding, even though we are using again and again we are using 3 times we are using, right, when you are calling only one time, when you are calling a function one time add number function, when you are creating, in fact when you are creating an object, the total will be assigned to 0, and then when it is calling add number of 10, right, when it is calling this particular function, so the total, right, total equal to total plus number, we are accessing total. And finally, when you are printing A dot get total, again return total, right. If you look at line number 17, get total function, A is invoking get total is being called and it is returning total, right. So, when you are running the code, you are getting the output. So, basically where you are hiding the data, line number 21 to 24, right, 21 to 23. So, data hiding, and you call this concept as encapsulation. So, you have a private member data, and then, right, so you have several public member functions. So, through public member function, so we are able to access this private data. So, this concept is called encapsulation, or you also call this as data hiding, right. Another famous, right, the functions getter and setter, right. So, once you are becoming the advanced programmer in object oriented programming, it is advisable to use this getter and setter functions, right. So, how do you get and set, right. So, the data hiding here is your class circle, you have the private member data called radius, right. So, this we are going to do the hiding, right, or this we are going to do the encapsulation. So, I have one set radius function, I am passing r, right. If r greater than 0, right, if r greater than 0, radius is equal to r, right. That means r I am assigning to radius, right. So, this we have done several times. In fact, when we wrote the code previously in all the previous 4 chapters, so you can recall we have done this, alright, but extensively we do not know this concept is a data hiding or encapsulation, right. R is assigned to radius, right. So, R you are passing from outside, and this is a public member function. So, now this public member function can access radius. So, therefore, we put radius is equal to R, right. Otherwise, you are writing if R is less than 0, radius less than or equal to 0 is not possible. So, you are writing C out, please enter a valid radius, alright. Now, so this is a set function, and another get function is return radius, right. Another get function is return radius, get radius will return radius, okay. So, one more member function we have calculate area, alright. So, the calculate area is returning pi r squared, 3.14 into radius into radius. So, now you are creating an object C, right, you are creating an object C whose class is circle, whose class is circle. So, now this object is calling set function. So, let us see any constructor is there, I do not think any constructor is there, it is like I mean the default constructor. So, no problem. So, now C is invoking set radius function, member function, and you are passing 5.0, right. So, you are passing 5.0, right. So, when you are passing 5.0, your radius, right, which will be getting 5.0, your radius is 5.0 now, right. So, from outside set radius is a public member function, not a problem, and 5.0 I am passing. So, when I am passing 5.0, here you can get, right. So, that means indirectly I can able to access radius, right. So, now radius is equal to 5.0. I hope it is clear for everyone. So, now let us say C out, right. So, what is the radius? Radius of the circle, right. C is invoking get radius function, C is invoking get radius function, right, again, right. So, get function. So, get function will call this particular member function return radius. What is radius? 5.0. So, first output I have to get 5.0. So, from outside this is the way. So, you have several public member functions, get radius, set radius. So, all are public member function. So, through public member function, because they are inside the class, they can able to access your radius, right. So, this you are hiding, right, that is called data hiding. So, double radius is being hidden, right, and now how do you access? With the help of public member functions, getter function and setter function. So, C dot get radius you are getting 5.0, alright, and the area of the circle C dot calculate area, alright. So, calculate area when it is calling 3.14 into radius pi r squared, alright. So, 3.14 into 5 into 5. So, you are getting the output. So, return 0, right. So, whatever be the value multiply 3.14 into 5 into 5, right. So, you can use your calculator and see. So, we are going to get that particular result. So, when you are running the code, you have to get this output. In fact, yeah, 78.5 you will get. So, one you can see radius of the circle you are getting 5. So, this is what we are expecting, we are getting, sorry, So, we are getting, this is what we are expecting, and 5 we are getting, and 3.14 into 5 into 5 is 78.5. Okay, you can check. So, these are all the outputs. So, in both the programs, what we are doing, we are hiding, right? We are hiding the private member data. So, even you can have a private member function, right? So, which cannot be accessed outside the class. So, you are hiding all, right? So, this concept is called data hiding, and on the whole this is called encapsulation, alright. So, you are protecting, right. So, the data where this cannot be unnecessarily, or no one can misuse this radius. So, here in this program radius, and in the previous program the total. Okay. So, similarly the same concept, right. So, we have it in Java, same concept, right. So, here the name of the class is, let us say, class name, right, and then you have a private member data, right. So, private variable name equal to value, private. So, let us say these are all the syntax. So, no need to worry, we will see a real example in the next slide, alright. One private member data, or you call it as a data member in Java, and another one is public method, right. You have a public method, right, public get method. So, assume that you have returned that public get method, you have returned from here to here, and then you have one more method called set method, right. So, set method you are passing a variable name. So, variable name is assigned to this dot variable name, right. So, we use this pointer for many cases, just recall, alright. So, this dot variable name equal to variable name, alright. So, these are all the member functions, they can access variable name, correct. So, you are passing and then variable name, yes, fine. So, that because of private member data, this set method can access this, and variable name is assigned to this dot variable name, right. So, this is your set method, and your class is over here, right, your complete class is over here. So, now this is syntax, this is exact syntax. So, I use the get method and set method, okay. I use get method, the getter and setter functions. So, whenever we talk about the encapsulation, you have getter and setter methods, or getter and setter member functions in C++, okay. So, we will see one example, we will see, alright. So, here you go, fine, I am continuing the previous, right, the syntax. So, here you go in the main program, right. So, this is your main in Java, I am creating an object C, alright, under the class name, right, the name of the class is class name, alright. So, dynamically allocated a memory and the constructor is class name. So, now this C is invoking set method, right, the object C which is invoking set method, and you are passing the parameters, right, and you are passing the parameters, right. What it will happen, whatever the parameters you are passing, you have a set method over here, right. So, it goes under the variable name, and then you use this pointer. So, this dot variable name is whatever you are passing, correct. So, that means I can able to access variable name indirectly from outside the class, right, and then you are printing C dot get method. So, C is invoking get method. So, get method when it is invoked, right. So, here you go, this particular method will be called, right. So, this is how exact syntax works in Java. So, we will see an example, right. So, here you have class animal, right, animal class, and you have one private member data called age, right. So, you have one private member data called age, and here you have get age, right. So, here you have a get age method, alright. So, get age method is returning age, fine, alright. So, it will return age, so that is a getter function, and then you have a setter function, alright. So, here you have setter function set age, you are passing int age, correct. So, you are passing, alright, that is the argument, and age is assigned to this dot age, age is assigned to this dot age. So, this is your get method and set method. So, now let us go to the main class. So, in the main class, alright, so you have main method, right. So, in the main method you are creating an object, right, A1 under the class animal, dynamically allocating a memory with a constructor animal, okay. So, you have created an object. So, now this A1 object is invoking set age, you are passing 18, set age. When you are passing 18, right, I can able to access age, which is a private member data or data member, alright. So, age is assigned to this dot age, right. So, age when it is having this dot age, so the meaning is your age will be 18, right. So, the private member data age is now getting the value 18 when the object is invoking set age method. And now, in the system.out.println, you are going to print A1 is invoking get age, right. A1 is invoking get age. So, when it is invoking get age, alright. So, when it is invoking get age, so what is happening? So, get age, when it is being invoked, it is returning age, alright. So, returning age. So, that means 18 should be printed. So, your main class is over here, that is the driver class, alright. So, when you run the code, you have to get this particular output. So, animal age is 18. So, if you see here, so we are protecting this particular data to outside world, right. So, this particular data to outside world, right, age, which is a private member data. So, now assume that when your function, right. So, that means the object A1 is invoking set age 18, that means 18 you are passing, right. So, age. So, here I can able to access age, that means this particular function set age is the public member function, right. In fact, the public method, I am talking in terms of Java, public method. So, public method here, this can access age now, and then age is assigning to this dot age, that means the age is getting the value 18. And when I am printing, so that means A1, the object which is invoking get age. So, when it is invoking get age, right, so return age, correct. So, return age. So, this will be returned, that means this will be printed, that means when I run the code, so I will get the output animal age is 18, right. So, this is how I carefully handle the data, right. So, two examples we had seen in C++ and one example in Java. So, the main idea is how you are protecting, how you are hiding the data from the external use, right. So, I cannot misuse this private member data called age. So, I cannot access A1 dot age outside. So, we know very well previously, but first time we are seeing. So, this concept is called the encapsulation, right. So, in all the cases, so we are protecting this particular data from the external use, right. And then in all the examples if you look, so we have the getter and setter functions or getter and setter methods. So, set method will set, you are passing the value. So, that value when you are assigning in the class, right, when you are calling the member function inside the class. So, now since that is a member function which can able to access that private member data. So, carefully we are using, right. So, carefully we are using. So, set age in this particular example A1, right, the object A1 which is invoking set age, and then what you are doing, you are passing the value 18, correct. And then this 18, when it is calling this particular function, you have, right, int age. So, that time only, alright. So, I can think about, in fact, the compiler can think about this particular data, right, this particular data member, right, and then age that is assigned to this dot age. So, age is getting the value 18 and you have another function called get function, right, get method. So, getter and setter method. So, A1 dot get age. So, get age you can see it is returning age. So, therefore, we are getting the value 18. So, this is how we can able to access the private member data. So, the unnecessary use can be avoided. So, for example, when you may think, right. So, what will happen if I write A1 dot age? You write it, you write A1 dot age and try to run the code, right. So, write A1 dot age and try to run the code. So, it will tell. So, you are trying to access the private member data of the class animal. So, you will get an error, you should get an error, right. So, when I am talking about the concept encapsulation or data hiding, so it is nothing but, I mean, no one should misuse the private member data outside the class, all right, or simply say the data should not be used outside the class and how carefully I can handle this particular data. So, this is in my hand, right. So, what you can do, you can write some sample code, right, both C++ and Java, right. What you can do, you can create one class, try to use more private member data. Anyway, we are going to see in the case of case study. So, what you can do, what I suggest, to try to use many private member data, alright, if you are using C++, private member data, and then try to think about the getter function and setter function, get function and set function, correct. So, based on this get function and set function, you try to pass the value outside the class, right, in the main, right. So, and then when you are passing the value, that will be assigned to your private member data. So, now this function can access, right, and then when you want to display, use your getter method or getter function, right. So, this is the concept called encapsulation. We had seen 2 programs in C++ and 1 program in Java. So, now in the next class what we can do, we can run some case study. Thank you.